I think that if you're looking to fix, I think the main thing you need to think about with fixing is if it's the reliability of your repayments not changing, not having to be stressed out about fluctuation in your home loan repayments with movements of the interest rate. I think if you're locking in a rate to lock in a low rate, probably now's not the time to do it for that reason. 1 year to 5 years you can fix your rate in for. At the moment, we've got a really competitive 2-year fixed rate of 5.54 5.54. I could even drop it down a little bit lower, depending on your situation. You've got to get your planning right. You've got to know where you stand. You've got to know what your borrowing capacity is. You've got to know what sort of deposit you need to work towards, what other fees are involved. That's usually a shock for first-time buyers. They're not really aware of everything. But I've seen many customers that come in and, it just hasn't been set up correctly because they've just, gone with the flow and not really thought about it, didn't realise just how much of a difference it could make if it's set up correctly.
Welcome to the Pioneer Pod. I'm your host, Suraj Chiluwal. In this episode, we are speaking with Shani Paget. She is the Mobile Relationship Manager of Bendigo Bank, Canning Vale. Let's welcome her to the show. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Not been on a podcast before, so this is quite exciting.
Okay, amazing.
Yes.
So, as we discussed off the record as well, you are one of the bank manager in Bendigo Bank in Canning Vale branch. So, what you are working on these days?
So at the moment, mobile relationship manager at the Canning Vale branch. So it's a fantastic branch, community branch, very community spirited. So I work hand in hand at the moment with Michelle, who's the branch manager, and we just try to develop and get more business in from the local community and also local groups as well. And the main focus really with the community bank is the more we can help people, the more money we make, the more we can put back into the community, and that's our focus. So working on just developing relationships with different communities in the group. For instance, Women's Health and Wellbeing, Idio Nigeria, Gosnell's Little Athletic Clubs, many more. But they're just some of the groups that we give back to and they support us. So it's a mutual relationship. Amazing. We definitely want to have the physical presence. I know that banking's moving a lot more digital now, so people are encouraged to do everything themselves online. So we have that approach as well. You can actually do a lot of things yourself, but if you do actually want to come in and speak to someone face to face, then we encourage that as well. We know there's certain people, older generations, even some younger generations, they want to come into a branch and talk to somebody and speak face to face, have that human touch. So we don't push people away when they walk into a branch. Sometimes there's a bit of a line there, but we're happy to see them straight away. We don't push them away and say, make an appointment online, we can't see you now. That's not what we want to do. We want to make everyone feel welcome. And it's such a warm vibe when you walk into the Canning Vale branch. Everyone there is just so friendly. They almost feel like friends. Like you even walk in there for 10 minutes and you just see how friendly and approachable everybody is, customers and the people that work there. So we don't want to push people away because we know that's not what they want.
How do you come into the bank and this lending sector?
Oh, well, because I had a couple of different industries that I worked in before I joined finance. But about 16 years ago, I decided it was time for a change. I took a bit of time off to bring up my children. So I was deciding, right, I'm going to go back into full-time work. What do I want to do? I knew some people that were mortgage brokers and that worked in banks. So I had some chats with them, found out a little bit about what they liked, what they didn't like, just to see if it would be a good fit for me. Met with a couple of aggregators just to see, what they could do, how it all operated, and then decided to take the leap and did my Cert 4 in mortgage broking and decided, right, that's it. No time like the present. Let's jump in and do it. So I set up as a sole trader. So I did my own. I worked for myself as a mortgage broker. And I did that for about 2 years. It was a great experience. It was just like, that was like really jumping in the deep end and just doing it. And I guess, when you first start a business, the hardest thing really, even though you know your work and you know what you're doing, is just find the customers. So I just went back to basics, door knocked, give out pamphlets, told all my friends and family what I was doing. And the business started coming in and it took off. I really enjoyed it. I really felt, this is something I like. I've got quite an analytical mind. So it was perfect and I loved it.
How do you manage time? Like most of the time, like people will be like 9 to 5, they finish their jobs and we have to go on the evening. So that's kind of really good. You enjoying what you are doing, or so how do you managing this?
Look, I manage it. It's really great. Look, a lot of my customers, I'm mobile relationship manager, so mobile is the key to that. So I visit them at their homes, work, coffee shops, or in the branch, whatever. It's just flexible. So look, a lot of my customers do want to see me on the weekend or in the evenings or lunchtimes at work, so that's completely fine. I've got grown-up children now, so I've got the flexibility and I can manage my time around that.
As we discussed, like you have few years of experience on the mortgage sector, and looking at the interest rate now, there is lots of rumors going on. The interest rate can go higher, but many people are saying the interest rate will be maybe early next year around March, April. So what's your experience?
The rates, we had a topsy-turvy time around COVID, so I think that threw a spanner in all the works and all the guesstimations that people had. And so the last couple of years, we've been trying to get back to a normal with the interest rates. So that's why we had that year when it was just increase. Now, the rate's been very steady now for a long time with no movement either way. And I think, look, there is talk the rates are going to drop beginning of next year. It's anyone's guess, really, because it could do anything. So it could go down. I wouldn't be surprised if it did go down a little bit beginning of next year. And then I think we're at the benchmark we're going to be at for a while. I think the interest rates, 4.35, the Reserve Bank rate, I think we're quite steady at that now. So we might see a little bit of an increase. Indication of that is the fixed rates are dropping a little bit. So that's usually a sign that potentially the rates might drop a little bit. But I don't think it'll be a massive dip unless something really out of the ordinary like COVID happens again. I think we're at a base.
Yeah, so what I find is the fixed rate has come a bit lower already, and the variable is still around like 6.3, 6.5, even 6.7 as well. And do you recommend to fix the mortgage at this moment, or?
It's a personal decision. Like, I think that if you're looking to fix, I think the main thing you need to think about with fixing is if it's the reliability of your repayments not changing, not having to be stressed out about fluctuation in your home loan repayments with movements of the interest rate. I think if you're locking in a rate to lock in a low rate, probably now's not the time to do it for that reason. I think if fixed is right for you, you like to have a set budget and you don't like any variations in that, go for fixed. But look, if you're wanting to see what happens in the future, go for the variable, because the variable's not that much higher than the fixed at the moment. So, I like variable because it gives you unlimited redraw, unlimited repayments, and it gives you a bit more flexibility. The good thing about with Bendigo Bank, though, our fixed rates are a lot more flexible than other banks. For instance, we still give you a 100% offset account with your fixed rate.
What will be the minimum lock-in period? Is it 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years?
1 year. So 1 year you can have a fixed rate for 1 year. 1 year to 5 years you can fix your rate in for. At the moment, we've got a really competitive 2-year fixed rate of 5.54. 5.54. I could even drop it down a little bit lower, depending on your situation. And with our variable at the moment, we can offer really 5.94 is a starting rate you can think of, depending on what your position is. So our rates are fantastic. Bendigo is all about the equity you have in your property. So someone that comes to us and they've got 60% equity in their property, we can definitely give you a rate of around the 5.94 mark. If you're at the higher end of that, the rates are still pretty competitive, and we can always negotiate and see the best rate we can offer you. But you're looking at something around the 6.14 mark for higher, higher loan to value ratios. So. But what I do is I send off a request. I've got my own discretion that I can give my customers. And if I'm really trying to if I see there's an opportunity to increase that, then I seek high approval and get that for them. With Bendigo, you have definitely personalised one-to-one service. I deal with everything as far as the lending goes. I've got the authority to review your application and submit it directly. I don't have to go through any third party. So it's a faster turnaround time with Bendigo Bank when you come through me. Look, there's always competition out there. That's fine. Competition is always good because it keeps the market strong. It gives people a choice, which is always fantastic. But with Bendigo, we've got great rates, great service, personalised approach, and you've got that branch presence. So we've got everything there that we can give you with a fast turnaround.
I think the first initial steps to get into the property market, even first home or second home, it will be people like yourself and have to consult what their borrowing capacity. Am I right?
Definitely. That's the first step, really, especially if you're new to the whole home ownership thing. You've got to get your planning right. You've got to know where you stand. You've got to know what your borrowing capacity is. You've got to know what sort of deposit you need to work towards, what other fees are involved. That's usually a shock for first-time buyers. They're not really aware of everything. Speaking to someone like myself straight up, just to work out all those facts and figures, make sure you're in a good position to start now, or whether you need to save a little bit more for a few months' time. I love it when I get first-time buyers come to me and, they're just excited. They don't know where to start. They don't know where it is. And I love putting those pieces together for them so they've got a plan. And there's nothing more satisfying than seeing them, for instance, a year down the track, when we put a plan in place and it comes to fruition. It's a really beautiful journey.
Right. As a, bank manager, and just dealing directly with the bank, and you deal with like a high-end client as well, like the commercial kind of thing, someone who is like really big investor, not just one or two, like they might have like 10, 15 residential or commercial portfolio kind of thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's more complex when there's more properties involved, cross collateralization. So, but we deal with all of that. So from the first-time buyers through to the seasoned investor, we can help you with all. It's a more complex approach, and we need to do more exploring and conversations around what they're actually hoping to achieve, what they've already got, what they already owe. But we can help from start to finish, from both ends of the scale.
Right. So I have few clients that they own like 2 or 3 properties. One is like one property they are living in this, and it's they bought 5-7 years ago, and it's sitting around $1 million and above. And they just bought like another off the plan, let's say, and another investment property on their personal name. And they came to me and so I want to sell this property, and most of that income is going on tax. And what I suggest to them, and just go with the professional like yourself, mortgage broker, and go to the accountant and as well, and they have to set up their structure right. And now in training like the family trust kind of thing, and SMSF as well. So as a real estate agent, I can't give that advice, but I say like those are the options you can definitely have a deep dive onto. And I think there are few mortgage broker and yourself, like you can definitely direct them which structure will be beneficial down the track to hold that property and for the asset protection kind of thing as well. And I think you guys are the first person to speak and explore that options, and you can direct to the accountant. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. We have to work hand in hand with the accountant, because the accountant, they know the tax, they know the laws, they know their side of things. We know the structure and how we can set the loan up, whether it's using the equity in an existing property. So we know what we can do on that side, but we definitely have to work hand in hand with the accountant to make sure that they're going to get the most tax benefit out of their investment, and pay the least amount of tax. Obviously, no one wants to pay any more than that than they have to. So it's a joint effort with all of us, actually, the estate agent, myself, and the accountant. We all have to work together with those. In those
I think the lack of information as well. Like sometimes people just end up accidental property investor. And they don't structure well on all those like 2 or 3 properties where on their personal name they could have set up company and kind of thing as well. They've
got to look into it. I've seen many customers that have come in and it just hasn't been set up correctly because they've just gone with the flow and not really thought about it, didn't realize just how much of a difference it could make if it's set up correctly. When I see people like that, I definitely direct them in the right way and let them know, look, we need to restructure this or have a look at a bit more and they're very excited when they can see how much they can save.
Yeah, and I think last few years after COVID as well, it could be just me or to yourself as well. And many people are talking about self-managed super fund and buying the property in there.
Yeah.
And so, have you had this kind of experience in these 2-3 years?
Yeah, I looked previously and the last 2-3 years. Yeah, definitely customers like to set up loans in the name of their self-managed super fund. So that's something we can do. It's a different process then. So there's just certain ways it's got to be done, but it's the best way to, especially for self-employed people.
Yeah.
To manage their money because a lot of self-employed people don't really worry about superannuation as well. They kind of forget about that. That goes on the back burner. So to have that invested in property is fantastic.
Amazing. I find like SMSF comes with a bit of like holding cost and those setup cost as well, and you have to renew that every yearly, and you have to get that statement. And what do you think the sweet part, like let's say the basic amount on your super fund, maybe 100,000, 200,000, and you can look for those options, or
look, it's individual. It depends on what you've got and how much what your business income is, what your assets are. So you've got to find the right balance. Everyone's different, so it would be hard to say an individual amount on that one, because there is auditing costs. There's a lot, as you said, there's a lot of extra costs with SMSF. So you really got to make sure you balance that out. So you have to speak to an expert in regard to setting those up correctly. So again, here the accountant comes in and helps, and we do the home loan side of things.
How do you manage time?
Look, I do have to work evenings sometimes, but it's not every night, so that's fine. My household, I've got grown-up children. They're 23 and 22. They're working a lot as well. So we've all got busy lifestyles, and if I've got to work late sometimes, that's not a problem. I just manage it the next morning to do a bit of catching up. Look, work's very important, so I want to do the best I can. So if I see a customer in the evening, I don't necessarily take the hours off the next day. It just depends on my schedule. But, I recoup that time back at another time if I've got to relax, catch up with friends, have a coffee, or just do a bit of YouTube surfing. I just do it. I don't really have a set time that I think, right, that's it, I'm having Tuesdays off to recoup. I just go with the flow and see what my schedule is and know that, look, I've got Wednesday flat out appointments, Thursday flat out appointments, maybe Friday morning, I'll give myself a late start.
Amazing. Many people are projecting Perth will, median house price will go around like $1 million mark in few years times. And past 20-30 years, like you haven't might expect like this kind of boom and this kind of growth. So where do you project this Perth will go on, and how do you find like from that old days to now?
Look, Perth is going from strength to strength. From when I grew up in Perth, I think we were the cheapest state to buy in, or cheapest city to buy in back in the day. When I was growing up here, it was just so affordable. And it's just moved and grown and developed. So I was away from Perth for many years, 16 years. So from the time I left to when I came back, oh, wow, it's developed. It's almost quite a luxurious little city to live in. It's, there's some beautiful properties all around, whether it's towards Yanchep, developed up Yanchep, go as far as Baldivis, there's just so much to offer in all those areas, and there's a lot of beautiful coastal suburbs. I think Perth's become quite luxurious. I love it. I never thought I'd love it as much as I do. As a young girl growing up in Perth, it was a bit quiet. The bigger cities, seemed more exciting, but no, Perth has got it all now. It's safe, it's beautiful, beautiful beaches. Property prices, they've increased, but that's how it goes. Good of your own property, and you've seen that increase. If you're trying to enter the property market now, hey, there's still ways. It's still a beautiful, affordable city, and it's very comparable.
And the connectivity as well. So many of my friends says, like in Melbourne and Sydney, it's getting more and more traffic because those cities were not planned as well as we are planning on Perth. Like from every corners, you can get into Perth City for like 30 minutes.
Oh, traveling here is amazing. I lived in Sydney for about 5 years, And it was great. Like I lived in the inner city suburbs. I was a young girl there. So, relied on public transport a lot. But I went back there recently for a holiday with a hire car driving around, and oh my gosh, it has changed so much. Driving through tunnels, there's tolls. It took so long to get everywhere. It was just, I just thought, still an exciting, amazing city, but my gosh, you spend a lot of the time in the car driving.
Yeah.
So it really made me appreciate Perth. You can pretty much get most places within 30 minutes to an hour, really, but that's pretty good. If that's in peak hours, you can get, you can travel quite far and wide. You're not stuck in traffic, which means you can enjoy your life more and work just as much. But you're not stuck in traffic. It's so nice.
Yeah, you lived in Sydney for like 10, 15 years and another 10, 15 on England as well.
Yes.
And what brought you back to Perth?
Yes, I was away for so many years. So I ended up being in England. I lived in London for about 2 years, then moved to Bath. I was in Bath for about a year.
Wow.
And that's where I met my husband. Had our beautiful 2 children. Wow. They were in Bristol. I was living in Bristol at that time. So that was great, enjoying life over there. But then when my children got to be school age, they were due to start school, and I thought, no, I really wanted them to have the Perth, the Australian lifestyle with a pool in the backyard, beaches nearby, beautiful, beautiful sunshine and blue skies a lot of the time.
Wow.
So that's what made me move back here to Perth. And yeah, it was a big change, like it was like, even though this is my home country, I'd been away for so long, I had to readapt to life over here, which was amazing. But so glad I did. My kids have had the best life.
What kind of special things you do, and what's the really good part of the community you love about Canning Vale?
Oh, it's amazing. It's just such a perfect fit for me. I just can't believe I wish I'd joined Bendigo a long, long ago. They've got so many communities they help locally. They offer people to apply for sponsorship, and they're always open-minded about anything that they receive. So we've got 20 plus communities we help. So more recently, we've got the women's health and wellbeing. We help them, which allows them to put back into the community with people that, can't afford some of those access to facilities. That gives them the funding to be able to help those. Gosnell's athletics, that's fantastic. Athletics is a great thing for children to grow up and have a healthy lifestyle, so it helps with them. We've got EDO Nigeria, was a group we've been helping recently. Fantastic group. And we don't just give the sponsorship, we actually participate in the different events that they have there. So if they've got awards nights or games, we're a physical presence. We really want to be part of it. We're not just throwing money there. We're actually really interested in meeting people and part of the group and watching the games and cheering them on. So we're connected. It's not just a money transaction. We're helping them because we can see how it benefits them and the community, and they appreciate us as well. They can see that it's a two-way street. They help us as well, and it's just fantastic. It's really, really nice to see. We've just had our AGM last week, and we had some of the communities that we helped that came there, and we were able to tell them and let them know how we'd helped them, and they were so grateful, and it was just really, really welcoming and warm.
Yeah, amazing. How do you, visualize or set your goals?
Look, I just had my goals. I've got I like having a big plan, but also I think bite-sized pieces are just easy to manage. So, I know that I've got to be consistent when I'm reaching out to my existing customers, trying to make contact with new people, new customers. It's just consistency. So every week I make sure that I reach out to at least 20 people just to see how they're doing, not necessarily to see if they need a home loan, see how they're doing, how's things, anything changing in your life, anything I can do to make it easier. It's just consistency. There's not really any big light bulb.
Magic crystal ball.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, when you first start out, there needed to be, but now I've been in the business for so long, it's just consistency, reaching out to people, talking, connecting, being visible, being available.
What do you do for your recreation?
Look, sometimes things do get so overwhelming, and you wake up and you think, oh my gosh, I've got so much to do. How on earth am I going to manage all this? And so when I've got those times, I just really take a deep breath and just think, okay, one thing at a time. Let's just not be overwhelmed. What's the most important? and focus on that. And then really sometimes you just need to take an hour out of your day and just
Mm-hmm.
relax in whatever way recharges you. For me, that's catching up with breakfast with a friend,
Mm-hmm.
or playing on my phone for a little bit, or going for a walk. That's just how I recharge.
As a young entrepreneur, or like when you finish your high school,
Mm-hmm.
and you really don't have a clear vision of what you really want to do in life, and
Yeah.
we have to try different things,
Mm-hmm.
and then profession will choose you, or like eventually you will end up in profession. And people who are watching was, or like someone really young, they wants to have a really good
Mm-hmm.
good career. So
Yeah.
what do you suggest the best things to
Look,
like
when
find
you're
out?
when you're young, that's the time to try out different things. When you're young, you don't really know what you want to do. Some people are lucky enough; they're born with a calling and they know what they want, and that's fantastic. But not everyone does. A lot of people don't really know what they want to do. They leave high school, they're ready to face the world, but they're thinking, okay, what do I do? Where do I belong?
Yeah.
Try out different things. When I was younger, I was in the travel industry, which was fantastic. Got to travel a lot. I worked in a computer company for a while. That was fantastic. That was interesting. And now, I found the banking, I found the financial industry, and I love it. It just really fits for me. So, look, maybe your life is not just going to be one journey. It might be that you do a couple of different things, but give it a go. If you've got an interest in something, give it a go. If you like it, fantastic. Put 100% into it, and see where it can take you. If you don't like it, change. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to stay put. The key to, I think, being successful is liking and loving what you're doing. And if what you're doing is a struggle and you don't look forward to it, then try something different.
Yeah, so as we speak earlier as well, you said your mother is from Sri Lanka,
She
and
is,
as
yes.
well as Australia is immigrant country. Lots of immigrants, they come as a
Yes.
student or in working visa, and those people are driving the economy now.
Yes.
Like lots of the businesses and in like a working environment as
Yeah.
well. And so it's sometimes it can look like really overwhelming and where to start.
Yeah.
But as you said, like you need to take a risk and go on.
Definitely. Look, I always think back to my grandmother. My grandmother and my papa from Sri Lanka. They moved here when my mum was only about 5 years old.
Wow.
So many years ago. But they came over here, and she was a very entrepreneurial lady. She was amazing. So she set up a boarding house where she housed people that were moving over from Sri Lanka, and they had a home that they lived in. She cooked, so they had all their food that they were used to. She cooked. She had such a community. She was a real driving force in that community back in the day. And so she came over here, with 3 children, a husband, and she set up an amazing life here. And she's still well known in the Sri Lankan community because of everything she did and how many people she helped. So I think that, really you've got to, I digressed, and I don't know how I've gone on this conversation about my nan, but, it just shows that, Perth's an amazing accepting place. And if you're willing to put the work in, and adapt and fit in and keep your own culture, but also adapt to the culture that we can offer here, you're going to have a fantastic life in Perth.
Yeah, and I think it's about like most of us, like we adopt few things, and it's about finding the mutual connection somewhere as well.
Yes. You've got to find where you feel happy and safe and accepted.
Yeah.
And be yourself.
Yeah. And as we speak, and I've been to the branch as well, and you are really good person, the by nature as well. And like you are working in that professional environment where you can help people as well, and you involve in the community as well. So let's say our audience wants to get your service and they wants to have a consultation with you, for their personal reason and financial reasons, where they can find you and connect with you.
Yeah, look, so if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about what I can do for you, whether it's you're just entering the property market or you've got another loan somewhere else and you're thinking, look, let's see what Bendigo can do for me, reach out to me. I'm at the Bendigo Bank Canning Vale branch at the Vale Shopping Centre, or you can contact me on my number 0435 537 297. I'm always available. Leave a message. I'm happy to help. I love helping people. We can have a chat initially on the phone, And if you like what we can offer you or what we can do for you, then we can arrange time to meet up in person. I'm a mobile relationship manager, so I am flexible. I'm not just restricted to seeing you in a branch Monday to Friday. I can fit it with your lifestyle. So, yeah, I'd love to help you. So please, please reach out, and thank you so much for having me on this podcast. It's been exciting.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as a real estate and the finance and banking
Yeah.
is like really on the same page, like
Yes.
hand in hand. So like time to time we have to call you and ask you, can we
Yes.
help this client, kind of thing as well. Definitely we are on the same page as well. I'm the member of Rotary Club in Southern District. We do organize so many events and community program as well to help the schools and the people around there as well.
Yes.
And like I really find really good with you and the Bendigo Bank, who have the really same motives to help community and grow together. And definitely we'll be looking forward to work together hand in hand.
Yes.
And thank you so much for giving your valuable time and insight for our clients, and looking forward to work together.
It's my pleasure. It's been a real pleasure. It's been a real joy. Actually, my first podcast I've been on, and I've loved it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Stay tuned.